Made possible through support from ARC Thrift Stores, CCDC, Colorado Cross Disability Coalition, Developmental Pathways, PASCO, Personal Assistance Services of Colorado, and the ARC of Aurora. A THINK+change training.
Hey there, everyone. You have Jeff, Callie, and Petrie. We are advocates with the ARC of Aurora and coming to you today with another THINK+change episode on self-determination. And today we're going to be talking about how to best support a person with IDD. And we're going to kind of go in order of options from least restrictive to most restrictive. And I think, the least restrictive option in a way to help support someone is organic support. And that may simply be me calling up Jeff or Callie and saying, hey, I've got this situation. I'm not sure what to do. I'm thinking I'm going to go this direction, but do you have any other thoughts? And just helping someone talk things through. They may or may not take your advice, but at least it gave them an opportunity to kind of vocalize and get things out of their head and talk things through almost kind of like a pros and cons conversation. So that we would consider the least restrictive. I mean, wouldn't you guys think so? Yeah. Okay. So the next one we have is a medical proxy. And there's a couple of different ways that this can be utilized. Let's just say an individual typically is capable of making their own medical decisions. They are capable of informed consent, but perhaps they sometimes have acute health situations that could put them into a situation where they may be incapacitated. And in those moments, they're not able to make their medical decisions. Then they have identified a person on their team or a trusted adult, whomever, who will then step in and make those decisions for them, already knowing the individual's wishes and desires for medical care and how they want any kind of dire situations to take place. So that's pretty much medical proxy. The other part of a medical proxy simply could be that while the person might have consent for capacity, maybe they just don't want the responsibility of making their own medical decisions because it's just too anxiety producing. And so again, they've identified someone to help make those decisions for them.
Interesting.
Yeah. So then we've got power of attorney, which is a legal document giving another person power to act for another. And we're going to get into this in a little bit more detail later. But basically, this can be as broad as someone making financial choices for you, medical choices. And usually you can specify for what that power of attorney is supporting. And then as we kind of go up the list of restrictive, authorized rep, this is a person who's been designated by either the individual themselves, a parent, or a guardian to help them access their services. So it really is kind of helping them guide their way through service providers and access to that. So sometimes really helping make the decisions in terms of what supports and services might be best for them.
Awesome. Thanks, Petrie. I'll go ahead and transition us into the more restrictive areas. And those two are going to look like representative payee and guardianship. A representative payee is the person who's financially responsible for all Social Security payments. This can be an individual or an agency. And somebody with a disability can elect to have someone be their rep payee, say if they don't want to manage their SSI or SSDI. A rep payee is not responsible for all finances, typically only those that come from Social Security. And then we look at guardianship. Guardianship is saying that someone cannot make their own decisions, and so you are taking their rights, which is an extremely intentional and serious decision, but you are taking their rights and you are taking them on as your own. So you basically make any and all decisions for this person. That is a legal process and does require a bit more work, and we'll talk about that in an upcoming episode.
So Callie, just a quick question to clarify. If somebody wants to, so let's say the individual has a guardian and the individual wants to do X and the guardian says, no, you need to do Y, the guardian gets to override the individual's decision, right?
That is correct. Yeah. A guardian controls every single aspect of that person's life.
Okay.
And that brings me to a point I'd like to make with you guys. When people are looking at all the great, information you provided, people want to understand how to make a decision of how to support the individual the best way. And I would always advise to start with the least restrictive supports. And if those aren't working or there's not enough support being given, then you kind of go towards those more restrictive supports. So instead of just starting out with guardianship, give that individual a chance to do things with less support, or the organic way, or you might add a medical proxy in there, see how things work. And if things aren't working, then consider guardianship. And if you're not sure how to come about a decision of what to start with, contact your ARC advocate or someone that's knowledgeable on the subject and have a conversation. Get more information before you just throw out the most restrictive supports possible. I think that makes sense in a nutshell.
I think that makes a lot of sense too. So yeah, if you are an individual out there who has questions about this, or even if you're a family member or a friend of someone that you're considering one or multiple of these options and you have questions, reach out, let us know. We're happy to help and guide and get you even to some of the right supports if you need those, if that's something we can't provide. We have more videos to come. Thank you for spending some time with us today. We hope everyone out there is staying safe and healthy, and we will see you soon.
Thanks.
THINK+change. Talks, trainings, and tools to help in your work for or with people with intellectual and other developmental disabilities. Learn more at www.thinkchange.training.